Hi, this is Jenny Clark with Solvability. We got another great Freedom Friday today with Craig Washburn of Veteran Tax Credit. And this is really one of those no-brainer ones to do. If you're a company that hires veterans, you need to talk to Craig, right? I'm just going to let you introduce yourself, Craig, and take it from here.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Jenny. And it's great to be here with the group. So my name's Craig Washburn. I am the CEO and founder of Veteran Tax Credits and veterantaxcredits.com. We are a solution that's bridging the gap between veterans and employers and helping both sides of the equation leverage a 7.5-decade-old program by the Department of Labor that incentivizes employers to hire veterans through providing them tax credits, which are dollar to dollar against what that company owes the government in taxes every year. So kind of to walk you through the landscape of the program, I mean, as I mentioned, it's been around for a long time. The biggest problem with this program is the lack of exposure. I'm sure that, when the program was rolled out post-World War II, and the government just, decided to implement the very first demographic target group where they were incentivizing employers to hire them, that the program was pretty widespread and well known. I mean, obviously we had a lot of men and women. The country changed during World War II. There were so many of us that went overseas, and when they came back to try to reintegrate, there was a need to get them back into the old workforce. And so the government created this program specifically to help that process. Since then, 7.5 decades later, it's changed a little bit as far as they've added in some additional target groups that have also faced barriers to employment. But unfortunately, the government is not a sales and marketing organization. And over the decades, it's lost its exposure, and far too little or far, there aren't enough companies out there that know about it. When I kind of talk through the numbers here in a minute, you'll understand that. And from a veteran perspective, very few of us know about it. And so we're on a mission to change that. And I'll talk to you a little bit about how we're doing that. So the program itself, yeah, go ahead, Jenny.
What I was going to say is that Veterans Tax Credit started because you wanted to find a way to help veterans get jobs, and you found a reason for people to hire them. I noticed you have a Navy cap. What's the story on that?
So yes, I am a Navy veteran. This is my salute to the Saratoga that has been mothballed, but I was on her final deployment before it was time to put her away into the stock shelves, and spent 4 years in the Navy myself. So that's the cap. So you're right that, I started this program primarily because I didn't know about it. I found out about the program about 5.5 years ago. And when I learned about it for the first time, I was a little shocked and then frustrated, and more at myself in the beginning, because I thought, I'm always a self-accountability guy, and I figured I'd just been dragging my knuckles the 20 plus years I've been out of the military and not paying attention. But as I reached out to vets and I reached out to businesses that I worked with and asked them what they knew about the program, 95 to 98% of them had no clue about the program or what it was. So I went straight to the source. I went to the DOL, I went to the workforce agency and said, tell me about this program and tell me why I don't know about it. And that's where I got the, hey, we're doing the best we can. It's like most government programs out there. It's available for everybody, but we've got limited resources and we're not a sales and marketing organization. So I set out to change that because I thought about it from a veteran's perspective. When we're out looking for jobs, we're marketing ourselves. And this is one more tool that could help us with that, right? It gives us an edge when companies are making final decisions around who they're going to hire. You get down to the final 3 candidates and I come with a tax credit and the other 2 people don't. You don't have to hire me, but there's a financial incentive for you as a company to do that. So I thought about it from that perspective. I'm like, I'm a vet. Why don't I know about this? I've been out for a long time. All the times I was looking for a job, I could have used this to my advantage to help me. And then I thought about it from a hiring manager, because I spent many years in the corporate sector as a hiring manager myself. I hired vets. I'm like, if I walked away from money that I could have put back into my budget, that's stupid. Why don't I know about this? And
Well,
then in
hey,
my other
Craig.
business, I was helping businesses with HR solutions, and I should have been able to help them with this.
So, Craig, what you're talking about is an opportunity lost. And what's
Yeah,
different about veterans is they'll feel guilty going back for a period of time thinking, I was that person's, the person they looked up to, and I didn't know it, so I couldn't help them. The
right.
other thing is, this is not an insignificant amount of money. It's nearly $10,000, but it takes planning to do it. And I think the funny part about it is when you and I first met, and we first started talking, I said to you, Craig, there's so much money inside the federal market because all of these defense contractors are hiring people with clearances. Only people with clearances that are really easy to find and locate are veterans. And
Yep.
so it like works all around when we talk about what can we do to make sure more veterans are getting hired? What are we doing to make sure our defense is strong? What are we doing to make sure that companies that want to invest in growing their veteran workforce can recoup their money for it? So I just think it works all the way around. So let me ask you this. How many companies have you helped?
A lot, and that number keeps growing every week, which is good. So I don't have a number off the top of my head on the exact number, but our goal and mission is to help a company get a tax credit for hiring a veteran for the first time. And I don't care if it's the very first veteran they hire or if this is number 100, because once you get the tax credit back and you've got great talent that you've hired and connect the dots, it's maybe we should be hiring more veterans, right? And in the defense contract world and in the government contract world, the companies that are hiring vets on a regular basis, you've already connected those dots, right? You know the value that veterans bring to your companies from both a hard and a soft skill perspective. But if you're doing that and you're not taking advantage of the tax credit program, you're literally throwing away P&L every single year. The government claims that about $1 billion of tax credits get claimed each year. Well, that sounds like a big number until you dig into the demographics. So we know anywhere between 200 to 250 servicemen and women transition every year. And the minimum tax credit for a veteran that's transitioning is $5,600. If they have at least a 10% service-connected disability, it's $9,600. So even if we're using the small number of $5,600, 250,000 vets at $5,600 in tax credits, that's 1.4 billion in tax credits right there. Now let's talk about the other veterans that have already been out, right? So we know there are about 14 million veterans in the workforce today. And if you use average annual attrition of 10%, that's kind of industry standard across the country. That means 1.4 million veterans are changing jobs every single year. The minimum tax credit for a veteran that's transitioning from a career to career, as long as they have at least a 4-week gap in employment, is $2,400. So even if we break that down to 2,000 as an average to make the math simple, there's another $2.8 billion in tax credits that aren't getting claimed, right? So between both demographics, we're getting close to $4 billion of tax credits that should have been already claimed. And that's just one of many target groups. Once you break down the demographics of all target groups, close to $63 billion of tax credits go unclaimed every year because companies don't know about it and aren't using this program. It's absolutely infuriating and disgusting.
Well, let me ask
There's
you
a couple of
this.
questions in the chat too.
Yeah.
All right. Here's what I'm thinking is if you were to talk to some of these really big companies, and this is typical of government contracting, sometimes there's a contract that has been won by somebody that didn't hold it before. The person that holds the contract now is called the incumbent. If they lose the contract, a lot of times they go hire 100% of those people and rebadge them. So they'd have to do a little bit of planning, but if they did, that would be the easiest way to offset the whole cost of bringing on that first part of people on the new payroll.
Yeah,
So
so as long as there's a gap of employment that happened of at least 4 weeks between the transition, that very well can happen because
yeah.
tax credits are filed under the EIN. So if you're switching EINs, you're moving one set of contractors to another EIN. They're newly employed.
Okay, that's good thing. Hey, Russ, you said there's a question in the chat. Do you mind running through it?
Yeah, there's two. One from Ray says, can this be done after the fact? So in other words, if the veteran is already hired, can that tax credit then be claimed? And then to piggyback on that, is this a yearly tax credit?
Can't hear you.
Yeah, we got the first part, Russ, but then your mic kind of set out on the second. I've got the chat open. So yeah, so unfortunately the way the program is designed to incentivize employers to hire veterans. So it's a hiring tax incentive, not an I've hired tax incentive. So you can't go back retro and collect tax credits on people that you've already hired. You need to have a program in place, and it needs to be part of the hiring process. The government wants and mandates through the program that the veteran completes their side of the tax credit no later than the day of job offer. Now, because they can't prove that you didn't interview them and offer the job and they started the same day, the drop dead date is the first day of hire, or meaning the first day they're working. But we help our clients integrate it into their hiring process to make sure we're getting the date time stamps well before that. And so then you can use it as part of your hiring decision. I mean, even if you're already hiring veterans and you've got one rec you're trying to fill and you've got 3 vets, and one comes with $9,600 and the other 2 come with $5,600, that can be part of your business decision on who you hire, right? Because you have a margin you've got to think about. If all things are equal and you're like, I don't know which one to choose, and this one comes with a little bit more money, I mean, it's designed to do that. It's designed to be part of your business decision, and that's the way they want it. As far as the contractors are concerned, because there's a quick question on that, unfortunately, no, 1099s are not eligible because they're independent contractors. They're not true hires.
Well, that's really good to know what you're talking about, Craig, because so often when I talk to small businesses, they're looking at what are their costs with hiring a new person, because it's not just their annual salary, and let's just say it's $100,000. It's also their payroll taxes, their benefits, and everything else. And a lot of times they're seeking to hire veterans because if the veteran's on TRICARE, they're not going to be on the company's health insurance. That could save them 5 or 10%, which makes them able to win more contracts just because of that. So you put that whopper on top of it, of the veteran tax credit, it's like, oh my gosh, we could have this as a permanent strategy, or some
Right.
way that we're dead serious about we want to hire veterans, not we want to hire veterans because it sounds good, or we want to
Right.
pretend to hire veterans. So
Right.
Craig, sounds like you've really made it easy for them, because I don't want to go and do all this research myself. What do you do to make it so easy for them?
So the platform is really designed to help both sides of the equation leverage the program. So from the veteran side, we help them get pre-certified. So we're the only national online resource where veterans can come in from anywhere in the world, complete their side of the paperwork while they're job searching. We send it to the government for them to get pre-certified, and we give them a letter that helps market themselves to potential employers and drives them back to an e-profile where their resume is uploaded, all their skills, an introduction video if they want to do one, and then how much of a tax credit they're worth to employers. So it literally puts the power in their hand where they can go into an interview, and at the end of the interview, hand them the letter, say, hey, by the way, if I'm the right candidate, I've already done the work for a tax credit. Should you decide to hire me, here's a letter that explains it all. So they don't have to be able to articulate the program. They're able to leverage the program and hopefully bring it to a business for the first time so they can get exposure to it and connect the dots mentally. On the employer side, it's a turnkey software solution. So literally we take all the mystery and headache out of this program for you. You don't have to worry about calculations. You don't have to worry about deadlines. You don't have to worry about messing up the government paperwork, because if it's messed up, guess what? They go declined and they move on to the next one. So we do it all for you so you can't make mistakes. We become the IRS and state workforce agency agent of record for your company. We do all the filing for you so that you don't have to worry about it. And at the end of the year, we add up all the tax credits that were approved and earned and put it on the required IRS documentation and hand it back to you so you can file it with your CPA or whoever it is that you use for filing that. And we're also, because we're the agent of record, if you ever get audited, the IRS comes in and says, we want to look at your tax credit program. You go, BTC handles it all, and then we take care of it for you.
Wow, it sounds like that's something that you should be talking to every payroll services company with as well. So I got some people I want to connect you with.
Yeah.
The other thing about it is I liked where you said you help the veteran put together their profile. And to me, it's almost like they have a bounty over their head, $9,600, $5,400. Does that ever make anybody uncomfortable?
You know, I have found a few folks out there that say, hey, I don't want to use it, or, hey, you know, they don't think you should use it. I always leave it to the veteran, right? So me personally, I mean, what drove me to build this solution was I want every tool available to set me apart from the other candidate. And in today's post-COVID world, where competition for jobs is extremely high and companies need additional revenue to recover and to get back on solid footing, if I, as a veteran, can bring them money by not only along with all the other assets I'm going to bring to the table, why wouldn't I? And if I don't bring that to the company, I think that it's a disservice to the company I go work for. Because if I can put $5,600 or $9,600 back in their P&L to help them hire the next 2 or 3 people, I need to do that, right? And so my mission is, as a military community, is I want us to take ownership of this program. You know, again, the DOL has their hands full with a lot of stuff, and this program's been around for a long time. So if we take ownership of it and we bring it to the business community so it gets the light it deserves, and then those businesses connect the dots, it's going to pay it forward for every single one of our brothers and sisters in the future who are looking for jobs, because companies will be looking for us and fighting for us.
Well, you know, it makes a lot of sense, because one of the things, whenever I talk to a veteran business owner, they want to hire veterans, and their first comment is, I can't believe what I had to go through my transition. And if there's any way I can help another veteran avoid that kind of pain, that kind of uncertainty, I want to do that. And Russ, you talk to a lot of veterans. What do you see as another benefit that might be part of this? You're on mute still.
I was just about to post a question in there, and my question was, is there a minimum time that the veteran must remain employed once that tax credit has been received? And is there a issue with churn? You know, you hire a veteran, you keep them on for the minimum time, and then you hire somebody else.
Right. So the way that the program is designed is designed to prevent that. So there are work requirements. There are 2 different work requirement thresholds, and then credits are earned as a percentage of wages over a period of time up to those caps. So when we talk about the $2,456 and $9,600, those are the tax credit caps of what can be earned as a credit over a period of time as a percentage of wages. So the first one is what's called the partial credit. It's a 120-hour cap. So somebody full-time, it's 3 weeks, right? And it's 25% of wages up to the partial credit cap. The full credit cap, which is the ones we talk about, can start being earned after 400 hours. So the equivalent of almost 3 months, right? And so it's, once you get to 400 hours, it's 40% of wages up to that cap. And to make a quick example and make it easy, let's say we'll use the $9,600 mark. Right? So $9,600 is 40% of the first $24,000 of wages. So if I'm paying somebody $100,000 a year, after the first quarter, they've earned $25,000 in wages. They've met their 400 mark. We've maxed out the credit. But if I'm paying them $50,000 a year, it's going to take another 3 months for them to get to that $25,000 mark where we max out the credit. So there hasn't been a lot of churn. I mean, this safeguard is in place to prevent that. And the good news is for company on churn that happens on the veteran side. So I come in and I work for you for, you know, a period of time. Let's say I work for you for, you know, 5 weeks and I say, you know, Russ, thanks for the opportunity, but this just isn't the right gig for me, and I leave. Well, as long as I've met that first 120 hours, you're still going to get 25% of the wages back that you've paid me if I haven't got to the 400 mark yet, right? Up to that partial credit cap. So it helps put money back in your budget so you can find the next candidate. So that's a good thing too for employers.
Well, so here's a question. If we wanted to do something to really let more people know about it, what's the best way to help you get the word out, Craig?
Well, so obviously, I mean, two things. One, connect with me on LinkedIn. It's in chat. If you'd like to schedule some time with me where we can have some one-on-one conversation, I'd love to do that. Happy to meet and schedule time with any one of you for that. Our website is veteran tax credits. That's plural with an S, .com. So veterentaxcredits.com. I can give each and every one of you slicks, and I can send it to you, Jenny, where we can send it out to everybody. In fact, I've created an additional coupon code freedom for this group so that you can pass it on to your employers or use it yourself and get a discount off of the employer side membership or subscription. And so it would love to help you guys understand whatever you need to understand to propagate the message, and would love to have you all as clients. If you're hiring veterans or know anybody who's hiring veterans, let's bring this program and put it in place so that you can capitalize on these valuable tax credits.
Well, I think that would be a huge benefit. And I know companies like the one that Gabriel works for hires almost all veterans, right, Gabe?
Are you using a tax credit solution today, Gabe?
No, we are not, unfortunately.
Oh my God.
I was going to go straight from here down to the big man's office and let him know.
Yeah.
When you start calculating how much money you walked away from, it's going to hurt.
Yeah. Well, but I think that, so one of the things that's unique about the company that Gabe works for is they've got an academy to train people that came out of the military to apply their security skills inside and become kind of a best of class contractor for security services. So, Craig, it's been great to have you on here today. I know that people will appreciate having learned about veteran tax credits and spreading the word, and definitely we can do that out on LinkedIn. I know you've been making some videos that I've seen, Craig. So probably that would be the first thing to do is go look you up on LinkedIn, find the video, the post that you've had, and hit some share and send it out. And what I find is most useful on LinkedIn is to put in my share, put everybody's name I can think of. So I'm always hitting up this whole crew and saying, because then you get a notification and can spread the word. So Craig, can you just repeat for us your contact information? If somebody wanted to call you, how do they reach you?
So in the chat, I have my contact information, so you can call me directly. There's also a direct link to my calendar, so you can schedule time with me so that we can have some one-on-one time and talk through your specific circumstances and how we can integrate it or how we can work together to help propagate the message. And then obviously our website is veterentaxcredits.com. That's plural, veterentaxcredits.com.
Well, great. Well, thanks so much, everybody, for being here today, and looking forward to talking some more. Any last minute things we need to add? Somebody want to raise their hand? Looks like we're adjourned, people. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks so much for having me. Bye, everybody.